Yo, what's good, Laker Nation? Listen, I need you to stop everything you're doing right now. I am not joking. What I'm about to tell you just happened on NBA Today, and it is the most fired up, most emotional, most real thing I have ever seen from a player who people keep calling a role player. Austin Reaves, AR, the undrafted kid from Arkansas who turned himself into a 23-point-per-game scorer on the Los Angeles Lakers, went on live television with Malika Andrews and Tim Legler, and he absolutely destroyed Stephen A. Smith, the media narrative, and every single person who has been saying the Lakers are going to get swept by Oklahoma City. I was watching this in real time, and I literally got goosebumps. My jaw was on the floor. I had to rewind it 3 times because I couldn't believe what was coming out of his mouth. This was not the calm, collected Austin Reaves we're used to seeing in post-game press conferences. This was a man who has been disrespected for the last time. And bro, when I tell you that the things he said are gonna send shockwaves through the NBA, I am not exaggerating. Let me break this down for you from start to finish. Hey, what's up everyone? Real quick, before we get into everything, that like button is literally what determines if this reaches hundreds or thousands of fans. Takes 1 second, but makes a huge impact on the channel's growth. Just smash that like button right now. It's the easiest thing you can do, but honestly, the biggest way to support this content. Every single like pushes this further, so hit it now. So here's the backdrop. Austin Reaves missed the first 4 games of the Rockets series with a strained oblique. He came back off the bench in Game 5, and then started Game 6 where the Lakers clinched with a 98-78 win. In Game 6, Reaves scored 15 points on 7 of 14 shooting, struggling from 3 but getting to the rim effectively. He looked better each game, but he's clearly still working his way back into form. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith has spent the entire week calling the Lakers a one-man show centered around a 41-year-old LeBron James. He said the supporting cast is mediocre. He said the win over Houston was lucky because Kevin Durant missed 5 out of 6 games. And he specifically said that Austin Reaves, even when healthy, isn't good enough to be the second best player on a championship contender. That is what triggered the explosion we witnessed today. Malika started the interview by asking Reaves how he's feeling physically after coming back from the oblique injury, and Reaves gave a normal answer at first. He said the oblique is feeling better each day, that he's getting his rhythm back, that the conditioning is coming along, standard stuff. But then Malika made the mistake of asking, "Austin, have you heard what Stephen A. Smith has been saying about this team's chances against Oklahoma City?" And the moment those words left her mouth, Reeves' expression changed. His eyes narrowed, he sat up straighter, and he said, in a voice that was quiet but absolutely loaded with controlled fury, "Yeah, Malika, I've heard everything Stephen A. has said, and I've been waiting for someone to ask me about it." What followed was a 10-minute monologue that will be remembered as the most honest, most raw, most devastating takedown of the media by a player this entire season. Stephen A. Smith says we're a one-man show, Reeves began. He says that without Luka, this team is limited. He says our roster is mediocre. And you know what? I'm done being diplomatic about it. I'm done giving the polite answer. Because let me tell you something about this Lakers team that Stephen A. Smith, sitting in his comfortable chair in Manhattan, will never understand. He leaned forward. We just won a 6-game playoff series against the Houston Rockets, a team with Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, Amen Thompson, Reed Shepard, and Jabari Smith Jr., a team that won 50-something games and was the 5 seed in the Western Conference. And we beat them without our best player. Luka didn't play a single minute. I missed the first 4 games with my oblique, and we still won. Does that sound like a one-man show to you? Does that sound like a mediocre roster? Then Reeves started naming names, and this is where the interview went from passionate to absolutely personal. Luke Kennard scored 27 points in Game 1, Reeves said. 27, a career playoff high. The man was drilling shots from everywhere. He was the reason we took that first game and set the tone for the entire series. And what did Stephen A. say about Luke? Nothing, not a word. Because talking about a guy like Kennard doesn't get views. It doesn't get clicks. It's not dramatic enough for First Take. But you know what? Luke Kennard is the reason we're in the second round right now. And I would go to war with that man any day of the week. He continued, and his voice got louder. Marcus Smart. This man guarded Kevin Durant full court in Game 2. He had 25 points, 7 assists, and 5 steals. He was an absolute animal on both ends of the court. In Game 3 in Houston, he had 21 points, 10 assists, 5 steals, and 2 blocks, and he was the one hitting clutch free throws in overtime to win us the game. Marcus Smart is a championship caliber player. He won a ring in Boston. He knows what it takes. And for Stephen A to look at this roster and say it's not good enough, that's not analysis, that's ignorance. But Reeves was just getting warmed up, because then he turned the conversation to himself, and this is the part that hit different. You know what my story is? Reeves said, looking directly into the camera. I went undrafted, nobody wanted me, not one team in the NBA thought I was worth a pick, and I came to the Lakers as a nobody, a summer league guy, a two-way contract player, and every single year I've gotten better, every single year I've proven people wrong. I averaged 23.3 points this season, 23 points. I was our second leading scorer behind Luka. I shot 5.5 assists per game. And now, because I missed 4 games with an oblique injury, Stephen A is acting like I don't exist, like I'm not coming back, like I can't play. Let me tell you something, Stephen A. I played through more pain in Game 6 than you've experienced in your entire career on that desk. My oblique was not right. It's still not right, but I suited up, I started, and I gave everything I had, because that's what Warriors do. So don't you ever tell the world that Austin Reeves is limited. I'm just getting started. Then Reeves shifted gears and started talking about internal team dynamics, and this is where the interview took on a whole new level of intensity. I'm going to be real with you about something, he said, and I know some people in our organization aren't gonna love this, but I need to say it. When I was injured watching from the sideline, I saw things. I saw how hard these guys were playing. I saw the determination, the togetherness, the joy of competing every single possession. Luka and I talked about it every single game while we were watching from the bench. And you know what we both said? We said, man, look at how hard they're playing. Look at the attention to detail. Look at the togetherness. And it made me feel 2 things simultaneously, proud and guilty. His voice cracked slightly. Guilty because I wasn't out there with them. Guilty because I know that if I had been healthy for games 1 through 4, maybe we win that series in 4 or 5 games instead of 6. Maybe we don't have to go through the stress of watching Houston come back from 0-3 and win 2 straight. Maybe LeBron doesn't have to play 37 minutes in a closeout game at age 41. That weight sits on me, and I carry it into every game going forward. Then Reeves dropped a bombshell about the coaching staff. I love JJ Redick, he said. He's the best coach I've ever had. His basketball IQ is off the charts, and he communicates with players better than anyone I've worked with. But I need to be honest, when I came back in Game 5 off the bench, I was confused about my role. I didn't know if I was coming in as a scorer, as a facilitator, or as a defensive assignment, and that lack of clarity hurt my performance. I told JJ after Game 5 that I need to start. I need to be in the starting lineup. I need to know that I'm coming out there with the first unit and that I'm a primary ball handler. And to his credit, he listened. He started me in Game 6 and I responded with 15 points. But heading into the Thunder series, there needs to be even more clarity because OKC is not Houston. They have Shea, they have Chet, they have the best defense in the league. We can't have confusion about roles. Every single person needs to know exactly what they're doing every single possession. And if JJ gives us that clarity, I believe we can shock the world. The interview went to commercial, and when they came back, Reeves was somehow even more intense. He started talking about the Thunder, and bro, this is where he got tactical. Everybody keeps asking me if I'm scared of Oklahoma City, Reeves said with a slight smirk. They went 4-0 against us in the regular season. They beat us by an average of 29 points. But let me explain something to people who don't understand basketball at a deeper level. In those 4 regular season games, LeBron, Luka, and I were all on the court together for exactly 1 game. And in that game on April 2nd, Luka got hurt and I got hurt. We played 17 minutes together and were minus 16. That's it. That's the entire sample size of the Thunder playing against a healthy Lakers team. And now you want to project that into a playoff series? That's not analysis. That's guesswork. And guesswork doesn't win championships. Then Reeves went after a specific Thunder player, and this was bold. Let me talk about Chet Holmgren for a second, Reeves said, because everybody acts like he's the second coming of basketball Jesus. And look, Chet is talented. He's long, he blocks shots, he can shoot. But let me ask you this. How many times has Chet Holmgren guarded a player like me in a high-stakes playoff series? How many times has he had to deal with someone who can pull up from 30 feet, drive to the rim, and make plays for others off the dribble? Chet is great at protecting the rim against players who aren't creative, but when I'm coming off ball screens at full speed, reading the defense in real time, and making decisions in a split second, that length isn't as advantageous as people think. I've studied Chet. I know his tendencies. I know when he jumps, when he doesn't, where he gives up space, and I'm going to exploit every single one of those tendencies starting Tuesday night. Reeves then made a promise that is either going to make him a hero or haunt him forever. I'm going to average 25 points in this series, he said. Write it down, 25 points per game against the best defensive team in the NBA, and I'm going to do it because this is what I've been building toward my entire career. Everything I went through as an undrafted player, every summer workout, every film session at 6 a.m., every doubt I've had to overcome, it was all for this moment, the second round of the NBA playoffs against the defending champions. This is where legends are made, and I didn't come to Los Angeles to be a footnote in LeBron James's career. I came here to write my own chapter, and it starts Tuesday night in Oklahoma City. Then Reeves got personal about the Luka Doncic situation, and he chose his words very carefully. "Oh, Luka is my partner," Reeves said. "My brother, and every day that he's not on the court with me, I feel his absence, but I also feel his presence, because even from the sideline, Luka is coaching us. He's breaking down film, he's pointing out defensive rotations, he's telling me, AR, when Shea goes left, he favors the pull-up, when he goes right, he drives to the rim." But that kind of knowledge is invaluable, and whether Luka plays in this series or not, his fingerprints are all over our game plan. Then he paused, and this next part made my heart stop. But I'll say this, I wouldn't count Luka out. Not yet. Not ever. Because I know this man. I've watched him rehab this hamstring with a level of intensity and determination that most people can't fathom. He flew to Europe for specialized treatment. He's doing everything humanly possible to get back on that court, and if there's even a 1% chance that he can play in this series, he's going to take it, because that's who Luka Doncic is. He doesn't run from fights, he runs toward them. Reeves ended the interview by addressing the fans, and this was the most emotional part of the whole segment. "To Laker Nation," he said, his voice steady but heavy with feeling. "I know the experts say we're going to lose. I know the betting lines say we have almost no chance. I know that on paper, the Thunder are better than us in almost every category, but let me tell you something that paper and numbers and analytics can never measure. Heart, belief, desperation. We are a team that was counted out from the moment Luka went down. We were supposed to lose to Houston. We didn't. We were supposed to fold when we went from 3-0 up to 3-2. We didn't. And now we're supposed to roll over and die against Oklahoma City? I don't think so, because every single man in that locker room has something to prove. LeBron wants to prove he can still do it at 41. I want to prove I can be a star in the biggest moments. Rui wants to prove he's a championship-level player. Marcus wants to prove he's still one of the best two-way guards in basketball. DeAndre wants to prove he's not just Anthony Davis's replacement. And collectively, we want to prove that the Los Angeles Lakers are not to be underestimated, ever. His final words were directed straight at Stephen A. Smith. "Stephen A., you called this team a castle of sand. You said we'd crumble against real competition. So I'll make you a deal. Watch Game 1 on Tuesday. Watch how we play. Watch how we compete. Watch how we fight for every single possession. And then, after the game, if you still think we're sand, if you still think we're mediocre, if you still think we're a joke, then you can go on First Take and say whatever you want. But if we show up the way I know we're gonna show up, then you owe us something. You owe us respect, not fake respect, not the kind of respect you give when the cameras are on and then take away the moment things go wrong. Real respect. The kind of respect that this team, this group of fighters, these underdogs has earned. We didn't get here by accident. We got here through blood, sweat, and sacrifice, and we're not done yet. Not by a long shot. Underestimate us again. I dare you. Watch us shock the world. Let me break down what we just witnessed. Austin Reeves just had his coming-of-age moment on national television. This is no longer the quiet kid from Newark, Arkansas, who was happy just to be in the league. This is a man who is demanding to be recognized as a star. And the numbers back him up. He averaged 23.3 points per game this season, making him one of the top scorers in the Western Conference. He was an all-star snub by most accounts. And now he's promising 25 points per game against the defending champions. The coaching criticism was subtle but important. Reeves saying he was confused about his role when he came back in Game 5 is a real concern heading into the OKC series. JJ Redick has been outstanding in his first year, winning the NBA Cup and now a playoff series. But the Thunder present a completely different challenge than Houston. Mark Daigneault's defensive schemes are more complex, the switching is more aggressive, and the shot blocking is more intimidating with Holmgren at the rim. Reeves is right that every player needs crystal clear role definition. The Chet Holmgren comments are going to be bulletin board material for OKC, and Reeves knows it. He's intentionally poking the bear. He wants Holmgren thinking about him. He wants Holmgren second-guessing his switches. Because when a shooter like Reeves gets into a defender's head, that's when the pull-up threes start falling. And let me add this, the Thunder's regular season dominance over the Lakers, 4-0, with an average margin of 29.3 points, is actually less impressive when you look at context. LeBron, Luka, and Reeves were only on the court together in one of those 4 games, and that's the game where both Luka and Reeves got injured. 2 of those blowouts came against Lakers lineups that were missing multiple starters. So the idea that OKC is just going to roll over the Lakers in this series based on regular season results is lazy analysis, and Reeves clearly agrees. There's also the rest advantage factor that deserves more attention. The Thunder last played on April 27th when they swept the Suns. By the time Game 1 tips off on May 5th, they'll have had 9 days off. That sounds great for rest, but historically, teams that sit for that long often come out rusty and sluggish. Meanwhile, the Lakers just played a competitive 6-game series that tested them in every possible way. They dealt with adversity, they overcame blown leads, they won an overtime game, they had to adjust to Austin Reeves coming back mid-series, and they found out what their role players can do under pressure. That kind of battle testing is invaluable, and it might give the Lakers an edge in Game 1 that nobody is accounting for. And the Luka comments. Man, Reeves stopped just short of confirming that Luka is closer to returning than the public reports suggest, saying I wouldn't count Luka out, and if there's even a 1% chance he can play, he's going to take it, is as close to a hint as you can get without violating team protocol. Combined with LeBron's cryptic "you don't know what you don't know" from his interview, there's clearly something happening behind the scenes that the media isn't privy to. And here's the thing that people aren't calculating. Luka's grade 2 hamstring strain happened on April 2nd. If this series goes to 6 or 7 games, that could push us to May 17th or 19th. That would be 45-47 days post-injury. The typical recovery window for a grade 2 strain is 3 to 6 weeks, which is 21-42 days. So even on the longest timeline, Luka could be ready for a later game in this series. And if the Lakers can steal a game or 2 early and extend this thing, the math starts working in their favor. The bottom line is this: Austin Reeves just told the world that the Lakers are not here to participate. They're here to compete. And whether or not you believe they can actually upset the Thunder, you cannot deny the fire, the passion, and the belief that this team has in itself. Tuesday night is going to be incredible.